I 33 want to divorce my husband M42 because he wants to spend all Sundays at his parents'. Am I being unreasonable here? How can we fix this? My husband, M42, and I, F33, have been together for 5 years, married for 3, we have 1 child. We are overall doing okay. But he wants to spend 1 day per week or even sleep at his parents' house in his old room. This has been going on from the beginning. At first it was, I am taking advantage of my last months as an unmarried man, then, since you don't need me now, but I'll be here if you are pregnant or have a child, and then it was, when the baby's here I won't leave, then, once the baby is grown and misses me, and now here we are. We have a toddler who requests their dad all the time. And I miss him too. We both work and the weekend we must run errands and do things. And usually we have some time to relax and unwind and watch movies and take a slow breakfast and play with toddler on Sundays. But he rushes away to relax elsewhere because he says he needs his time to relax. We always fight about it and I am done fighting. To me it seems like being in our home is a job or is a burden he has to go back to his parents to relax from. It seems to me like his real home is with his parents and that I am holding him hostage. I hate even the fact that he wants to go. I am just over having the same fight every week, so I am considering breaking it off. I think my child and I deserve someone who wants to be with us. I have nothing against my in-laws and they are not the ones instigating it. They aren't even at their house this weekend. He thinks and says I am being tyrannical and I already have him 6 days per week. It sounds like it's got nothing to do with spending time with his parents. Instead he gets to avoid any responsibility for a whole day, night. You should start taking the whole Saturday for yourself and see how that goes. Make him stay there for a week to test out a separation. If you both like it more, divorce. He can't just abandon the family once a week because he wants to be a little boy again. What would happen if you left on Friday night and came home Saturday night so you could get a break? If you divorce he'll have at least alternate weekends. Stop going to the hardware store for milk. You want different things. He doesn't want to do things as a family. He wants you to do the childcare, and when he wants rest, he wants his parents to cater to his nonsense. You want different things as a family and he's not willing to provide it. I suppose you could go to counseling. At least to give it one last try, and I suspect you'll realize that this man doesn't envision family life as you do. At least in counseling, if divorce is the answer, you can both be civil and come up with a parenting plan that works for you. Are you 100% sure he's going to his parents and isn't having a side chick? You are right. You deserve someone who will choose to be with you and your child. You deserve better. It's also really weird that he goes there when his parents aren't even there. Are you sure that's where he's going and what he's doing? Married 10 years wife F34 just admitted to cheating on me M48. My wife told me today while we were putting away the Xmas decorations that she had sex with someone else a couple months ago. It came out of nowhere. She went to the pub with the girls on her birthday a couple months ago. Apparently got so drunk she couldn't remember anything. This has been a repeated problem this year, which she promised she was going to control how much she drinks. I was asleep but got woken up by her coming home at about 4 a.m. She seemed fairly drunk. She came upstairs and we had sex, which usually happens as she's pretty horny when she gets home. The following morning she couldn't find her phone anywhere, so we traced her steps back to the pub without luck. My wife then suggested checking the park, which was a few minutes walk up the road from the pub. When we got there I realized it was a pretty secluded park. My wife found her phone and seemed somewhat on edge. On the drive back home I questioned what the hell happened last night, why was she there? She burst into tears saying she can't remember and promised not to drink like that again. She seemed genuinely shaken by what could have happened but promised nothing happened. Well, after falling out about that for a few days I dropped it and pretty much forgot about it. Then today out of the blue she admitted she had sex with someone that night in the park. Apparently she can't remember and found out from the guy's mates that he had sex with her in the park that night a couple weeks later. She is telling me she doesn't know who the guy she slept with or his mates and can't tell me anything. My first thought was she was potentially raped being so drunk, but my wife is sure she would have consented and won't say no more on the matter. Trust me, I want answers. She said she got an STI check done mid-November, which thankfully came back clear. The fact that she slept with me that night too and kept this whole thing secret until today and killed me inside, I feel disgusting. We have 4 kids together, 14, 13, 10 and 7. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I want what's best for the kids, but I don't think I can be around her anymore. I feel so betrayed and empty inside, I don't know what to do. It felt like a knife to my heart, and then my feelings were gone shortly after hearing the confession. I feel angry, sure, but also so empty it's confusing. My wife has been begging me to forgive her and to try again for the sake of the kids. I honestly don't think I can. I work 60-70 hours a week. I don't really have anyone to talk to, no close friends. I don't want to tell anyone in fear her family finds out, but I can't pretend that everything is normal either. I apologize for spelling, grammar. I'm currently sat in the dark sleeping on the sofa typing this on my phone. Edit. I'm M38 not 48. Hang on. She can't remember going to the park but told you to look in the park. Found the phone in a secluded park. Guess she knew where to look, either she remembers or she goes there often and thought she may have done it again. Doesn't read well either way. I'm so sorry bud. Get your money back in that trip. She's a fucking mess. Let's ignore that she cheated on you for a moment, but damn. Who the hell goes out, gets shit-faced, and then fucks a random man she doesn't know in a public park? That's trashy and gross. Divorce this dumpster fire for multiple reasons. Thank you for the replies. I think I just needed some support on the right thing to do. I want what's right for the kids, but a loveless broken home isn't right. She wants me to continue living here and says she can make me love her again. There's no chance I can't forgive this, and I don't want to be in the same four walls as her. I'm confused. 1. She found out they slept together from the guy's mates, but also doesn't know who the guy was or his mates. 2. Too drunk to remember who they are, but remembers enough that her phone was at the park? 3. If she went out with her friends and was really too drunk, then how did it get to a point where they let him take her to a park to fuck? Story doesn't check out. I suggest you corroborate her story with her friends and demand that you 1. Find out who the guy is and 2. Insist she file a police report for rape because, according to your wife, she was too drunk to consent. Then you will watch as her story suddenly unravels and she backtracks. I will update this in a few days. I thank you all for your support and advice. Thankfully, I'm not back to work until Thursday, so I have time to sort out living arrangements. I'm going to try and get some sleep. So you have an alcoholic cheating wife. Why would you live your life like this? Get rid of her immediately. My god man, you are actively choosing to be a cuckold at this point. This cannot be a real human. How do I tell my wife, 37F, who has BPD, that she is losing me, 37M, and our 9 and 11-year-old? The basic backstory is my wife has BPD, anxiety and depression. Over the last 3 to 4 years she's gotten progressively worse. She's at the point where she can hardly hold a job, doesn't help with any household tasks, doesn't interact with our kids, and has no interests except smoking weed and chatting with dudes on Snap because it makes her feel better. Big kicker, last July, she offered my minor niece weed and sent her a link to a not safe for work kink test. CPS obviously not involved, police, etc. I was cleared instantly. She admitted to everything, had zero repercussions. It's like it gave her free rein to do whatever she wants. I held my daughter Monday night while she cried to me about how she wished her mom cared about her as much as her mom cares about her friends. My son straight up said he'd rather spend his holiday break with his grandparents if she's just going to sleep and not hang out with him. They're hurting, we all are. When CPS came around, she took off, said she was moving back to West Coast US. Her brother convinced her to come back. I'd file for divorce, but I know she's sick. She goes to therapy, finally. I have a lawyer on retainer and papers have been ready since August to serve. So twofold. How do I approach her with all of this? She needs an ultimatum at minimum, but she'll just shut down. I've read the books and talked with therapists, and everything we've tried to do to get a conversation going fails. It's beyond time she hears how badly her kids and I are hurting. Or do I skip that and just file? CPS already failed them once. Even the police were amazed she was cleared after admitting everything, and since she was cleared all they could do was a counter ticket for the weed. I cannot get sole custody as a male in my state. My lawyer has said as much. I can just imagine the hell they'd have, even limited time with her. It's all screwed up. Anyone else ever been in something like this? Or have anything? I'm at wit's end. Update. Went to talk with her when she got home. I didn't just come attack her with accusations, but chatted for a few minutes. Then asked if we could have a conversation about the kiddos, and some things they told me about how they're feeling. I said one thing. They said they're confused about what's going on, and don't feel loved like they used to. She shut down instantly. Sat in silence for a few minutes, told her I'd really like to talk because I am worried about them, and got hit with, "You're just Mr. Perfect. I might as well just go back home. None of you need me, obviously. Just leave me alone. I'll be changing a few things on the papers tomorrow and have my lawyer file." Dude, put your kids first. Divorce her and get therapy for everyone. Poor kids. Serve the papers. Get an order of protection against her, and change the locks on the house. Your children are in danger from her and you aren't keeping them safe by allowing her to stay in their home. Protect your kids, man. The harm being done by being in that environment is going to cause lifelong emotional damage for those children. My dad was absent most of my life, and that had led me to be in a much better state than he was in my life, constantly hurting. Is it easy? No, I still have a lot of damage, but when I see the people in my life who did have similar situations to you, they suffered so much more every day. I know your wife is sick, but if she can't actively at least do no harm, then it's not safe for you or your children. She needed to do the work to heal and better herself while you were doing so much for her and the children. You're not selfish or a terrible person for putting you and your kids first. If you are able, get her out of your house. Ask her to go elsewhere for a while. Serve the divorce papers once she is out and never leave your home. File for full custody of the kids at the same time while they are with you. Make sure you have cameras up everywhere and record every single interaction with her. So many women will, once you have filed for divorce, start claiming abuse. Oh, and you need a logbook. Log everything as far back as you can remember and every interaction you have with her. Dates, times, etc. You and your children's lived will possibly depend on this. My mom has BPD, BP, anxiety, depression, and prolonged grief syndrome. She didn't choose to get the proper help till a year ago, in her 60s. I used to cry to my dad and ask why my mom doesn't love me. He divorced her and it was for the best. I still hardly saw her. She was also an alcoholic and drug user. If I did go spend the night at her place, she would be out all night and sometimes not come home. She justified it being okay because I was 15. But I now have a wonderful stepmom, and I have grown up to realize that my mom was incapable of loving me at times. I would serve the papers. My mom waited till my brother overdosed to get help. He had his own mental issues and lived with her at the time. Don't risk your children's lives. Safeguarding kids top prio. I think my 30M girlfriend 45F is my personal assistant now. My 30M girlfriend 45F is between jobs right now, and while I totally support her taking time for herself, I feel like I've accidentally hired her as my personal assistant. I met my girlfriend 2 years ago on Tinder. She moved straight in. She was unemployed at this point after losing her job at the cinema for some obscure reason and has sort of given up with her job search, it seems. I've given up trying to push her to get a job. So now she's basically my housewife personal assistant. Only she doesn't clean or cook. Every morning, I wake up to a to-do list that includes, buy groceries, call the plumber, don't forget to stretch. She lays out my clothes for me to wear for the day. She makes the bed while I'm still in it. I'm no high flyer, I work from home making sales calls. At first, I thought it was cute. Like, oh, she's just being thoughtful. But now, it's starting to feel like I've got a full-time staff member. I even found her going through my email, unsubscribing me from newsletters I didn't even know I was subscribed to. She's literally organizing my inbox. I didn't ask for this level of micromanagement. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I'm starting to feel like I need to hire a therapist just to deal with her suggestions on my life. I've tried casually mentioning that I can handle my own schedule, but then she gives me a look, and I end up with a sticky note reminder to have a productive day. How do I tell her that I don't need her to do these things without sounding like I'm being rude? She's 15 years older than you and can't keep a job, either accept you've got a leech or move her out. Come on, you moved her right in unemployed and she's tried to just become housewife so she can stay that way and you now push her to get a job. She had and has no intention of working. Put a password on your computer and give her a to-do list that reads, get a job and stop trying to manage me. Between jobs at 45 years old? What are you doing? She is not looking for a man, she's looking for her ticket, income, sucker, sugar daddy, whatever you want to call it. Why isn't she buying groceries and calling the plumber? Seriously though, you need to talk to her about the fact that she needs to start paying bills and rent. Why on earth would you let her move straight in when you barely even knew her? It's time to be a big boy and tell her stop this shit and get a job or leave.